Welcome to Robertson View Academy. Today in biology, we're going to look at the topic called excretion. Now, biology, it comes paper 1 and paper 2. Now, what we need to understand is that paper 1, every question 18 of biology, you're going to find the topic called excretion, like that, every question 18. Now, then in paper 2, comes also in most cases in section A in both B. Now, this topic is a very interesting topic, and I'm going to make sure to say I break it down in simpler terms so that we understand deeply what excretion is all about. Now, what do we understand by the term excretion? What is excretion? So, this is the removal, okay? This is the removal of toxic. This is the removal of toxic waste metabolic, toxic waste metabolic substances from the bodies of living organisms. Okay, so we define excretion to be the removal of toxic waste metabolic substances from the bodies of living organisms. Now, when we talk about excretion, we need to know what is it that we humans excrete. What is it what plants excrete? Example number 1, we need to know to say the organs that are used in excretion, they are what we call excretory organs. The organs used in excretion, they are called excretory organs. So the organs, what you need to know is the organs used in excretion, okay, in excretion are called excretory organs. Are called excretory, okay, organs. Okay. Wow, the products that are used to remove, that are being removed, they are what we call the excretory products. So you say, wow, the products, okay, that are removed. The products that are removed, okay, products that are removed are called excretory products. Excretory products. Okay. Now, example. What are the organs that are used in excretion? Number 1, we have what we call the skin. We have what we call the lungs. We have what we call the liver. Are we together? So now, let's look at the table here. Let's look at this table. Let's look at the table where it summarizes the excretory products as well as the organs. So here we have excretory. We have excretory products. So let's start with organs. Here we have excretory organs, okay, excretory organs, and here we have excretory products. Excretory products, okay. Meaning, this is an organ that is used to remove the product that is here. Number 1 of the excretory products, we have liver, okay. What does the liver excrete? The liver, it excretes bile. Are we together? Bile pigments. Okay, that is one of the things that the liver excretes. Number 2, we have what we call the lungs. Okay, lungs. We have what we call the skin, and we have what we call the kidney. Okay, these are the organs used in excretion. So the liver. This one excretes carbon dioxide. Then here we have the skin, which excretes urea. Okay, urea. So urea, we have excess salts, and the water. And this one removes water and what in salts. Water and the salts. Now, I want us to look at one thing that is very, very interesting. It is what we call the renal system. it is imperative that when you're looking at the topic called excretion, you need to look at what we call the renal system. So this is what we call the renal or urinary, okay? Urinary system. Urinary system. What about the urinary system? What we need to know about the urinary system, we have the following structures. Number one, you're going to have something or a structure like this, okay? You have an arrow going up downwards and an arrow going upwards. Then you have, okay, something like this. Then to continue going downwards, then you have also something like this. Okay, let's make it like this to be more neater. Okay, like this. Here you have a kidney, and here you have a kidney. Then you have something like this. Okay. This is what we call the renal system. Now, under the renal system, we need to know the structures. You've seen the structure that is taking blood downwards. It is what we call the aorta. Okay? It is what we call the aorta. Then you see this one taking blood upwards. It is called the vena cava. Okay? The vena cava. Then this is what we call the kidney. This is the kidney. And this is the ureter. And this is the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder, and this is what we call the urethral sphincter. Sphincters. Okay, and this is what we call the urethra. Okay, sorry, just urethra like that. Then what else? Look at this. You've seen the tube that is connected to the aorta. This one here, it is what we call the renal artery. Okay, renal artery. Okay, renal artery. Then this one, you see, this is the vena cava. The tube that is connecting to the vena cava, it is what we call the renal vein. Okay. Now, let me explain these functions one by one. Number one, look at this. Assuming to say we have the heart here. Now, if this is the bottom part here and the heart is here, what we need to understand is that you've seen the aorta. The function of the aorta is to carry oxygenated blood from the heart towards the other parts. The function of the aorta is to carry oxygenated blood, so you can write those ones too, so that we don't waste time. The function of the aorta is to carry oxygenated blood from the heart towards the other parts. Now, remember, this is the oxygenated blood here, which is being transported from the heart to the other parts. Now, the function of the vena cava, it is to carry oxygenated blood. It is to carry oxygenated blood from the aorta towards the kidney. Are we together? From the aorta towards the kidney. Now, the function of the vena cava, it is to carry deoxygenated blood from the other parts towards the heart. And the function of the renal vein is to carry deoxygenated blood from the kidney towards the vena cava, and the vena cava will transfer it towards the other parts. Now, we have the kidney. This is where now urine is formed. Then we also have what we call the ureter. Now, when we talk about the ureter, this is the part that transports urine from the kidney towards the urinary bladder. Therefore, the urinary bladder is the temporal storage of urine. This is where urine is stored temporarily. Okay. Now, what is the function of the urethral sphincters? These are ring of muscles which control the flow of urine in and out of the body. When they close, they allow urine to stay inside, but when they open, they allow urine to go out. Now, the function of the urethra, this is the passage through which urine leaves the body. In males, it is also the passage for semen. Now, in the kidney, there are millions of structures called nephron. First of all, I want us to look at the structure of the kidney itself. I want us to look at the structure of the kidney. Okay, let's look at the kidney. Structure of the kidney. When we talk about the kidney, this is a bean-shaped organ. Okay, the kidney is a bean-shaped organ that is located just by the lower abdomen there. So now, this is the structure of the kidney, where we have something like this. Okay, so in an exam, they'll give you this structure and they'll ask you some questions based on this kidney. Are we together? Now, this one here, it is what we call the ureter. Okay? Ureter. This is what we call the medulla. Okay? This is the medulla. And this is what we call the pelvis. Okay? So these are the structures. Now, when we talk about the structure of the kidney, inside the kidney there are millions of structures called nephrons. Then when we get one of them here and view it under the microscope, what we're going to have is a structure like this. Maybe let me do it from here. We're going to have a structure, we end up having a structure like this. So look at this. This is the structure that we're going to end up having. Okay? Okay? This is the structure that we're going to have. Okay? Now look at this. Then we also have here where the tubes are entangled with each other. Okay? Then we have okay. Another one is here. Okay, now let me explain each of these now. Let's assume, okay, so here we have what we call the glomerulus. Are we together? This structure here is called the glomerulus. Glomerulus, okay? Then this structure here, the cup-like, it is called the Bowman's capsule. Okay? Bowman's capsule, okay? Then this one here, it is what we call the afferent end. Okay? Afferent end. And this one here is called the efferent end. Efferent end. Okay? And we have the root of head. Okay? Then we have the collecting duct here. Collecting duct. And this is what we call the first convoluted tubule. First convoluted tubule. Okay? And this one here, sorry. This is the second, this is the first. First convoluted tubule. Okay? B-U-E-L. Then this one, right second. So there's a distal and a systole. Okay? Look at this. One comes to explain what happens to the nephron or the nephron so that urine can be produced or manufactured. Number one, what we need to pick from this is that we have the structure called the kidney, the structure of the kidney. The kidney is made up of the medulla, the pelvis, as well as the ureter. Now we say inside the kidney, there are millions of structures called nephrons. Now when we get one, this is what we're going to have here. Now, in the kidney, for urine to be produced, there are four processes that occur in the kidney. Number one, there is what we call ultrafiltration. Okay? Ultrafiltration. Okay? Another name for ultrafiltration is what we call pressure filtration. Okay? And number two, we have what we call selective reabsorption. Okay? Apart from selective reabsorption, number three, there is what we call osmoregulation. Okay? Apart from osmoregulation, lastly, we said therefore, there is what we call secretion. Okay? Now, pay attention on this one. You need to know where each of these structures occurs from. You need to know what each of these function or how it functions. Now, when you say that you need to understand what each of these parts or structures rather perform in a kidney, now we need to know to say where does filtration occurs from? Where does ultrafiltration occurs from? Where does selective reabsorption occurs from? Where does phosphorregulation occurs from? And where does secretion occurs from? Number one, we're going to look at phosphorregulation. The first one is ultrafiltration. What is ultrafiltration? What is ultrafiltration? This is the filtration of smaller molecules into the Bowman's capsule. It occurs in the glomerulus. So the first one, it occurs in where? In the glomerulus here. Now, this is the filtration of smaller molecules into, so it's like this. This is the Bowman's capsule, and this is what we call the glomerulus here. Okay? So this is the, now, during ultrafiltration, smaller molecules will be filtered out altogether into the what? The Bowman's capsule. Okay? Into the Bowman's capsule. Now, during the filtration, our smaller molecules will be filtered out into the what? The Bowman's capsule. Now, these smaller molecules are called glomerular filtrate. These smaller molecules are called what? Glomerular filtrate. Glomerular filtrate. Now, what are these smaller molecules that we need to know? One of the smaller molecules which includes, number one, we have what we call salts. Okay? We have what we call water. Okay? We have what we call urea. Okay? So these are the smaller molecules. So they can ask you to say, what are the substances that are filtered out in the glomerulus? So you give them smaller molecules. Now, during this filtration, there are big or larger molecules or substances rather that are not filtered out. Now, what are these substances which are trapped in the glomerulus? Number two. So big substances are, number one, we have what we call red blood cells. Okay? Red blood cells. Okay? Apart from red blood cells, we have plasma protein. Apart from plasma protein, we have what we call white blood cells. And also we have what we call platelets. So these are the substances that are not filtered out. These are filtered out, and therefore they are called what? Also, glucose is glucose. Okay. These are filtered out, whereas so these are filtered out, whereas these are not filtered out. This is about ultrafiltration. This is the filtration of small molecules from the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule. Now, what is selective reabsorption? Each of these statements here have been now each of these substances here, these have been filtered, and these now have been trapped. We are saying these smaller ones now have to be used, but these, the way they are used one after the other. So how are they used? Number one, we need to look at what we call selective reabsorption. These substances now will be reabsorbed, but as they are being reabsorbed, what will happen? Now look at this. They occur in the convoluted tube. Okay? They occur where? In the convoluted tube. Number one, this glomerular filtrate now, as it is passing through these tubes here, they will reach the first convoluted tube here. Now, what will happen to these things? Number one, we're saying selective reabsorption. During selective reabsorption, all glucose will be used, but some water, meaning glucose here in the first convoluted tube, all glucose will be reabsorbed, but some water. But in the second convoluted tube, all water now will be reabsorbed, but some glucose. This is what you need to understand about this thing. There is what we call osmoregulation, which occurs in the roof of Henle. Now, what is osmoregulation? This is the maintenance of the water levels. Osmoregulation, it is the maintenance of the constant water levels in the body. Now, what you need to understand is that when there are low water levels in your body or my body, what will happen is this. There's a part of the brain. Look at this. This is the brain. Okay. This is the brain. Now, under this brain, there's a part called the hypothalamus. Okay? Hypothalamus. Okay? And there's a part called the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland, which is also called the what? The master gland. Now, when there are little secretion of water in your body, there's a part of the brain called the hypothalamus which detects the changes. Okay? When it detects the changes, it causes the cells in the pituitary gland to secrete the hormone called the antidiuretic hormone, ADH. So, when there is little secretion of water in your body or my body, there is a part of the brain called the hypothalamus which detects the changes and causes the cells of the pituitary gland to secrete the hormone called the antidiuretic hormone, which is then transported by blood around the kidneys. As a result, there will be secretion of water. Now, the hormone that is produced, it is called the antidiuretic hormone. I think that has to be the 2020 exam where they are asked to say, name the hormone that is produced, and name the organ which is produced during excretion, which produced the hormone during excretion. So it will they said there is osmoregulation process. So the gland, it is the pituitary gland, but the hormone is what we call the antidiuretic hormone. Now remember, there was a secretion of water that is urea. Now it is being collected in the collecting duct, then it is transported. Secretion just now, this is where urine now goes in the urinary bladder, is secretion. So this is about excretion. But lastly, we need to talk about diseases associated with the kidney. Diseases associated with the kidney. Okay, so there's what we call kidney failure. Kidney failure. This is a situation where a kidney fails to perform the functions properly. Now, kidney failure may be treated in two ways. Okay, kidney failure. Okay. A kidney failure may be treated in two ways, namely, number one, there's what we call through a dialysis machine and the kidney transplant. Kidney transplant. Kidney transplant and the dialysis machine. Dialysis machine. Okay. Now, what's a kidney transplant? A kidney transplant, this is a surgical operation during which the normal kidney from the person called a donor is transferred to a person experiencing kidney failure, who is called a recipient. Example, if you are donating your kidney to me, you are the donor and me who is receiving, I am the recipient. So we are saying this is a surgical operation during which the normal kidney from the person called a donor is given to the person experiencing kidney failure. This is one way that a person with kidney failure can be saved through kidney transplant, and also there's what we go through a dialysis machine. Now, a dialysis machine, it doesn't cure a person, but it acts as a kidney. Okay, where a person has to stay there for 8 hours, about 3 days a week, for 8 hours. Now, we need to know what are the causes of these diseases called kidney failure: accidents, food poisoners, and so forth. Now, also there's an advantage of dialysis machine, and also there's a disadvantage of a dialysis machine. What's an advantage of a dialysis machine? And what is the disadvantage of a dialysis machine? What is an advantage of a kidney transplant? And what is the disadvantage of a kidney transplant? One of the advantages of a kidney transplant is you no longer feel half. You just write like that. You no longer feel half. Meaning, the person who now has gotten the kidney, they will no longer feel like they have that disease. Why? Because they believe that they've been cured. Now, what is the disadvantage? The disadvantage is tissue rejection. The person might have tissue rejection, or maybe you can write the best to say the person has to start taking pharmaceutical medicine for the rest of his or her lifetime to avoid the tissue rejection. Then for this one of the disadvantages is that it is expensive and it takes time. This is the topic called excretion. So for more topics, share the video, subscribe to our channel, and make sure that you like. Thank you so much.